Welcome to the Effective Living series, and it's happening to you. It's coming to you on the City TV's Breakfast Daily. It's also on the City Breakfast Show. My name is Bernard Avile. We've been discussing building back greater. That's the theme for the series. In the first week, we looked at rebuilding personally. In the second week, we're talking about rebuilding your family. In the third week, we're talking about rebuilding professionally. And this is the beginning of a brand new week, and we're ending the series with rebuilding business. And the R's are three: recalibrate, remodel, and rebuild. My guest is Michael Ohene-Effah. He was here in the first week where he spoke about leaving your comfort zone and getting into the growth zone, the 4 stages of growth. Michael, welcome back to the series.
Thank you very much.
Earlier, I asked you what you did, and you said you consult, you do development, but you also do leadership development and also business development.
Yeah.
So today we're talking about business.
Yeah.
Organizations.
That's right.
Amazing. How important is it to talk about organizations rebuilding post-COVID, post-banking crisis?
It's an imperative. It is an imperative. I think that governments all over are concerned about their economies and are taking deliberate steps to help people rebuild, to help people. If you look at the American presidents, you look at the UK, the Prime Minister, everybody is talking about how do we revamp, how do we rebuild after what has shaken everybody. And I think that if the government of Ghana is minded to do so, helping the estimated 70% of Ghana's economy, which is informal, helping people to rebuild is the biggest imperative for the government in 2022. Amazing.
Yeah. And I noticed there are 3 R's for the week: recalibrate, right, remodel, and rebuild. These are important words. Just can you elaborate briefly?
All right. So one of the things I did in 2020 during the COVID period was I got myself a certification as a certified Growthfield business advisor. And I did that online. Growthfield is a global enterprise management platform used by millions of people across the globe, and it helps you to go through how to run a business the proper way. Now, it doesn't matter whether it's an NGO like what I do or it's a commercial enterprise. Every business is calibrated in a certain way, and when the global environment changes the way we have seen COVID wreak havoc, you need to sit back and recalibrate your business. You cannot go about business the same way you used to do it 2 years ago. When you do that, you'll be eaten by the sharks.
So let's talk about how to remodel your business for success. What are you going to talk about today?
All right. So the first is reflection. You need to reflect. What do you want to achieve by 31st December 2020? Where do you want to position your business? I have just spent 3 days with my team looking at our strategic direction for this year. Okay. So we have a blueprint for how we want our 2022 to be.
Okay.
And so as a business owner, and it doesn't matter whether you run a small clinic, a small school, you have your own taxi, or you run a water joint, it doesn't matter. But spend some time reflecting as a business owner. What results do I want to produce for my customers this year? Think about it. What results do I want to produce for my investors this year? Think about it. So spend some time reflecting on exactly what you want your business to be. Just as we teach people to set goals for their lives at the beginning of the year, as a business owner, you must also spend time to think about the results that you want to achieve,
so that's the reflection.
Reflection.
And now, it's preferably to do with your team.
With your team, if you can.
Okay.
And this is where people like us come in. Some people call on us to facilitate that process.
So it's a framework that you can help people to do.
Oh yeah, we use it to consult.
So there are tools you can use.
Yes, there is a tool. Growthfield is a tool.
I can hear people say, "How do I do that? Are we just going to make it? Let's have a staff meeting?" Because this looks like a very deliberate process of asking specific questions.
Exactly. And this is where you need, and it's not just me. There are a number of consultants and others who will benefit your business if you were to.
So that's a reflection thing.
That's a reflection thing. Now, you see, the way you think about your business is how you end up doing business. So part of the reflection is for you to begin to look at, okay, how have I been doing this business?
Okay.
Now, I want you to realize that there are 3 personalities that every business owner has. 3 personalities. And that personality shapes the way people run their business. Now, the first personality that is inherent in every business owner is the technician. Now, the technician is, technical skill. So you know how to do your business, and then that gives you a business. So let's take the example of a baker. You are a very good baker. And so everybody in the area comes to you for their bread. There's a long queue. And because of the technical quality of your bread, you begin to grow. So the baker exemplifies what I mean by the technician. Okay. You know how to do the work, and therefore you grow as a result of that. Now, fast forward 2 years, 3 years, you realize that you are not only now serving the area, but now you are supplying to other smaller shops because your bread is very popular now. Okay. And so you brand your rubber, and then now you begin to supply other businesses in the area. Now, when that happens, remember that the business has changed. Okay. The business has changed because you are no longer now selling to people who come and queue and buy your bread, but now you are actually a supplier. You are dealing with other vendors. You now must issue invoice. You must issue receipt for monies they pay you. You need to have account in terms of how much my Auntie Sewa down there or Auntie Gifty down there owes you, and you need to. So the technical skill of being a baker has now changed. So the second personality inherent in every business like that of the manager.
The manager. Now, as you know, managers deal with systems, procedure. They keep the business organization running. The manager is a numbers person. And they are the ones who keep the bolts and the knots of the business running. Okay. They are the people who make sure that every process is followed. So this baker, if that baker was to give the bread and say, look, I supply you, I give you only 30 days credit. It is the manager's job to make sure that invoices have been sent and that creditors, debtors are being accounted for, monies have been paid into the bank. We are paying our suppliers also and all of that. The third one is the entrepreneur. The entrepreneur is the visionary. The entrepreneur is concerned more about the larger picture than just the bolt and knot of running a business. Now in Ghana, somebody that exemplifies this for me is Kofi Amoabi. Kofi Amoabi was consumed by something higher other than just giving money out. He wanted to actually disrupt the whole financial sector. I think he did. He broke through largely. So that's the entrepreneur. In America, you can talk of Steve Jobs. He was more concerned about something higher other than just machines. So those are the entrepreneurs. They are visionaries. They see ahead of their time. Now, all these three personalities are inherent in one business owner. So if you are a watch seller, you have a joint at East Legon. You used to just do your watch and people come to you. But COVID came, 3 weeks there was a lockdown. Nobody is coming to your watch joint anymore. Now, what are you going to do? Now you start a small delivery service. Okay. And so the business has changed. The girl who used to do the shit off for you must now take phone call and take orders. Her skill has changed. Meanwhile, you haven't sat down to plan or plot anything. You are still going about as if nothing has changed. So now people call, the orders are missed out because there's no system to keep or track the order. When people deliver, the delivery guy who went and took the money, who is keeping track of how much he took it? So you realize that the scale of now running the business has changed. You now need a manager who will help you to keep track because you, the watch seller yourself, you are a technician. It is the way you do your watch and your shit that made you popular. But the business is changing. The dynamics are changing. You used to just have a small sale. Today you have maybe quadrupled the sale. But a lot of the technicians, they don't reflect. They don't do this recalibration that we are talking about. So once the environment changes, you need to calibrate. Wow. You need to change the way you are running the business. And you need to be. Today, I know that Abosokai people are doing delivery of their spare parts because it is so difficult to get in and out of Abosokai that all of them now have Okadas who are delivering. So the business has changed. You are now dealing with about 5 Okada boys. And when they go, they must bring the money and they must be accounted for. And so even though your initial skill was how to fix a car, lower arm, now managing people on motorbikes and making sure they can run on a schedule is a new skill set you have to develop.
And then even taking phone calls from your suppliers who are based in Kokompe or Medina and others and keeping a log of who has ordered what. And when you take things from your place now, you now need a way bill to be able to. It has changed completely. But a lot of people are oblivious of that change. And so they don't recalibrate the business to meet the exigencies of that new space. And that is where the businesses now start going down.
Amazing. So that's the reflection and then the 3 stages. I see.
Yeah.
So what else do we need to consider in this conversation?
All right, so if we can see the growth wheel.
The growth wheel.
The growth wheel.
The
I'll then
growth
talk to.
wheel.
Yeah,
okay.
If you can, yeah, good. So generally, every business, and it doesn't matter what you do, it doesn't matter the product or service that you deal in, every business is broken down into 4 main segments.
Is it?
And 20 different parts.
4 segments, 20 parts.
Yes, I talked about this last year, but it's so important that we do it again because we want to help people to rebuild their businesses. Now, so the first component of every business is the business concept.
Okay.
What's your business idea? What is your business? What are you bringing to the market? You are a hospital, but what's your hospital's general idea? Are you just coming to do what everybody else is doing, or you want to bring something new into the system? You are a radio station, but what's the concept of the radio station? Are you going to do political talk? Are you going to do lifestyle? Are you going to do urban? What is it? So what's your business idea? What are you bringing to the market? Then your product portfolio. Your idea must be turned into products and services, because you and I buy products and we don't buy the idea. All right, so what can you do with the idea? So in a hospital, maybe you have about 4 or 5 different services. There's a pharmacy,
have lab services, you have pharmacy,
exactly,
you have outpatients.
Exactly. And then a number of specialists.
Amazing.
You know, maybe you have a PDI, you have that. All those.
So you have a range of products.
Products, yes.
That's your product portfolio.
Your product portfolio. And then revenue model. Your product must return a revenue at the end of the day, or you are not in business. So how are you going to make money?
So if I see the dentist, I may pay 200 cedis. If I do a lab test, it's 50 cedis.
Good.
Consultants maybe 2 cedis. Put all that together.
Finally, that's a revenue model.
That's a revenue model.
That's right. This is how we make money. The revenue model is why we say businesses are growing concerns. Because if you don't bring in the money, you are not a growing concern. You go bust.
So it's not a charity.
It's not a charity unless you are an NGO like Ida Frick.
But even with that,
you must be self-financing and sustainable.
So revenue has to come in.
Exactly.
Otherwise, it's not a business.
Exactly.
So after revenue model, what do you consider then?
Then the customer portfolio. Who is going to buy from you?
So in the hospital example,
who is coming?
So some people who are not sick, obviously elderly people, some people with tooth problems.
Yeah.
Anybody who comes in with a headache, doctor may say do a blood test.
Yeah.
So you categorize all those.
Yes, but you need to even be very clear.
All right.
You can have a hospital and cite it in, say, Accra Central and say that my customer is the corporate executive.
Because of where they work.
Because of where they work. So I'm catering to corporate executives. Because you see, your customer portfolio will then help you to package your product or your service very well. And so today, if you're paying attention, you enter a hospital, you realize that the OPD is now calibrated differently. It's more serene, more
it's warm. Not like those days can see there like 200
some
people
bench, hard bench be under a mango tree.
No, we don't do that again.
Everything, because have you realized that even churches are changing the architecture because they are catering to a different customer base now.
Hey. I see. So the customer portfolio is also
who is
part
going to
of
buy from
the
you?
Business concept.
You need to know their needs, their wants, and their preferences. And if you don't sit down to know exactly who buys from you, you may get it wrong.
So in that example, if, for example, your hospital based in Accra, where workers are coming in, then it means that some of them may be the staff, the company may be paying for them.
Exactly.
They come with insurance.
Exactly.
It's not the same as if you are La Polyclinic,
exactly.
where people from La Mami are coming,
exactly.
who may be doing cash and carry or NHIS.
Yeah.
So that is important to know and define properly.
It's very, very important because, like you explained, if people are coming more with insurance, it means that you need a different system set up to be able to capture it, trace your money, and work. That in itself calls for the way you will set up your operations. And if you are doing cash and carry too, it calls for a different operational system to be able to meet that needs of the particular customer.
And this is all still the business concept.
Business concept. Hey, a lot of people don't think about their business this way. That's why we have so many small businesses in this country. Because we don't sit down to, somebody sees that you have opened a school, say, me too, I'm going to open a school. They don't sit down to plan. Who is going to bring their children to this school? Where are they? Where do they live? What are their needs? How do I meet that need profitably? Wow. People don't do that. They just see that, hey, Bernard has said that school. Have you seen that he has changed his car? Hey, then means school is with me to make I go inside. And then we start.
And then finally,
we come to market position. Where are you in terms of competitive advantage?
Okay.
So here you are trying to find out who else is in the space? What are they doing? How can I do mine differently? And how do I get that competitive advantage and edge? Now, my advice is that because the external environment has changed, you need to sit down and recalibrate or rebuild your business around the business idea. Maybe initially your customer was this. But for instance, let me give you an example of Leader Frick, my own organization. We set up Leader Frick with a model. We developed a leadership development model for children.
Okay.
We started operating in one secondary school. And we realized that the problems of the child was much more than we had thought about. So we had, for instance, several times we go to this school and children will tell us, Uncle, this is the challenge I'm facing. Can you talk to my mother for me? And a few times we had to intervene with parents. So immediately we realized that we are dealing with more than the children. We needed to deal with the two main influences in the life of the child, which was the parent and the teacher. So we developed parent workshops and teacher development programs. So straight up, we had to rebuild the business.
Amazing.
Now we had to build a skill in how to work with parents. And so we are one of the few organizations that run parent development programs.
Amazing.
Because the thing with life is that you don't get a certificate because you become a parent. One burst of emotion and you are a parent. Now who trains you to become a better parent? So this is what I mean by you need to sit down to review and then you can rebuild your business.
Wow. This is the Effective Living series. We're talking about rebuilding your business, recalibrating, remodeling, and rebuilding. Michael Ohene-Effah is our first guest for the final week of the series, and today his topic is how to remodel and rebuild your business. The 2 is the growth wheel, which is a 4-part 20 component tool that he's using. He's basically just walked us through the first part, which is the business concept, which has about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 components. What's the second part of the growth wheel then?
The second one is the business organization itself.
The business organization itself.
So ownership and board. How are you structured in terms of ownership? Who is going to serve on your board?
All right.
What competencies and skills must they bring to the table? So for instance, once again, let me use my own organization. We set up Leader Frick to be a Pan-African organization. So in our board, we have 4 nationalities.
Is it?
Yes, because of the idea.
Even though you are based here for now, you're already Pan-African.
Yes, and it's deliberate. So even in the selection of or an invitation to our board, we made sure that it represents the business idea. So don't just call on some church elders to be your board chairman because he's a church elder or he's a pastor or this. No. You must be setting ownership and then board. Those who can provide the strategic direction for your business. Now, because of the disruptions to the economy, if you want to rebuild, you ask yourself, will my current board serve me for the future where I am going, and then make the necessary changes. Then you come to employees. What kind of employee do you need? Do your current employees, are they fit for purpose? Would they take you to where you want the business to be? And here I'm not talking about character, I'm talking about competence, capacity, and willingness to work.
I see.
So for example, we did our strategic session in the middle of December and realized that we needed 3 different competencies for where we wanted to position the business. And so we are going to bring in those competencies for 2022. So don't pick people based on convenience. Pick people based on whether they have the competence and the capacity to lead you to where you want the business to go. That's part of the recalibration that we are talking about.
Amazing.
You may have to upskill some of your employees. You may have to move some of your employees. You may have to bring in new ones. What are you ready to do for your business in 2022? Then you come to partnerships.
Okay.
Who can you form partnerships with to be able to deliver to your customer? Front end, back end. Those who are going to make you deliver your product or your service, and then those who help you to take it to the customer. So sit down, revise your business operations. Where you are going this year, who do you need on board to help you to be able to do that? Then come to business processes. Business processes, how you deliver your value to the customer.
Okay.
So, for instance, let's take that Bosoka example. And I want to bring it down so that people won't say he's talking to corporate people. So, for instance, your business process, at first you just open your store, you sit there, people come and buy from you. COVID has come. Now you are doing a lot of deliveries. So the business processes have changed.
Okay.
Now you need to bring in Okada people. Now you need to bring in way bills. Now you need to bring in several things to be able to meet the new demands of the new customer. So you are revising how you do your business. Same for the Wache seller. Now you are doing more deliveries than people actually come to stand in front. Exactly. So how are you going to revise and change your business processes to meet the demands of the new disruptive system? And then finally, legal issues. How are you registered? Have you fulfilled all requirements? Now you know that in Ghana the regulators are now wild, and because government needs money. Now, so what are you doing? For example, do you have contracts with your staff? Do you have contracts with your suppliers and vendors? Do you have contracts with... You need to think through all of this to be able to not have your fingers bent. For instance, in my work as a consultant, you go into some organizations, some of the staff don't even have appointment letters.
Wow.
Yes, some don't have appointment letters when it comes to the SMEs.
Oh, yeah.
So how are you going to... Some of us do business with... vendors and suppliers, and there's no contract. So when the person doesn't deliver what you ask for, it's your word against my word, and then we start cursing each other. So what legal issues do you need to deal with to be able to meet the demands of the new disruptive economy that we are going through?
So all of this is under the business organization. So there's a business concept, there's a business organization. What else do you have in the growth wheel?
Then you come to operations.
Operations?
Yes, business operations. Here you are, first is facilities. Where are you going to deliver from? Today, because of online and deliveries, a lot of people don't even have shops anymore. So they operate from a warehouse and they dispatch and deliver. So if that is your business model, fine. But if you are running a hospital, we talked about the reception and all of that. We talked about lab. All of that are business operations or facilities. So how are you going to set up your facilities to deliver value to the customer? Today, schools have changed. Look at the architecture surrounding schools. The classrooms have changed. So if you want to cater to corporate executives, how are you setting up, your school to be able to cater to that customer that you have in mind? And so look at facilities. Then IT systems. What IT systems are you going to have? In the light of the disruptions, what do you want to do in terms of IT? What equipment do you need? What softwares do you need? And all of that. Today, people can just get QuickBooks, and one man, he can do everything. He generates invoices, he generates receipts, he generates everything. You don't need to have triplicate and all of that. It's a cake. So, IT systems. Come on, people.
And then you open the book with this.
Exactly.
I think
they put a card at the back so that one person can just, all you need, QuickBooks, you can subscribe for just $12.
Do they still manufacture carbon paper?
Well, it's still there. If you go to the bookshops, you see it.
Oh Lord, receive books and things. I see.
Then production and delivery. How are you going to produce? How are you going to deliver? So once again, remodel your business based on how do you want to, where are you going to produce from? How are you going to deliver to the customer? Then funding. How are you going to fund your business? Are you going by equity? Are you going for debt? Are you going for debt? How are you going to fund? Or you have some rainy day savings you are going to bring in. Think about funding. And then finally, financials.
All under operations.
So
this is the core operations. Of how the business moves.
That's right. And it's very important that in the light of the disruption, you sit down to relook all of these things. Because sometimes we don't do enough introspection as businesses.
All right.
When you charge people and say, look, I want to do a strategic planning session for you. They say, hey, it's too much. Hey, it's that. And so we keep doing the same thing every day, not knowing that things have changed. And as I said, if you pay attention, look at our hospitals, look at our schools, look at even our churches. People are changing based on the needs of the new customer. Today, almost all the new churches are air-conditioned. And when I was growing up, what was air-conditioned? Fan. But today, because the demands of the new Ghanaian middle class have changed, churches are changing their facilities to meet that need and that demand.
I see.
Today, it is not enough to have a church. You need to have an enormous car park, because sometimes even one couple, they bring 2 cars. So you see that if you don't sit down to remodel how you are serving the customer, you miss it. And then before you realize, people are just going People are just going, and then you say, "Hey, they are ubiya and you You haven't sat down to recalibrate your business in the needs of the time."
I see. So the fourth component is customer relations,
Yes.
which is just what you summarized.
That's right.
So again, these two may need help.
Yes.
You don't just take it and say, "This is growth fuel, I'm going to use it," because there are 20 different parts.
That's right.
Where do you start from?
Exactly.
Okay.
So the first, and as I keep saying, you need external help and support to do some of these things. People to bring that aside perspective so that you can capture these things objectively. And so where you can't do it, if you have, and people are using our lecturers a lot, people are using a lot of business advisors, people are using accountants, business process. People are using business process engineers who will come in, for instance, at operation level and help you to map out every process that you have and make sure that it is calibrated to meet the needs of your customer. So if you can't do it, just give us a call. We are happy to work with people, but not to promote myself. Other consultants are available who help you to actually
I actually want you to promote yourself because you've been on this program for at least 6-7 years.
12 years.
12 years. You see. So you've kept a better record. So obviously, and you've worked with organizations which have seen improvement.
Yeah.
So what kind of services do you offer for businesses?
Well, we help people. We actually are coming out with a new product in 2022 called the Business Growth Clinic. And it's going to be a 6-month SME school for helping people to build their business block by block using this tool. So we are not just doing 3-day workshop. We want to work with you for 6 months.
6-month SME school.
Exactly. We can actually work with you. So for instance, when we talk about business idea, we'll work with you to have your business idea. Do you have brand identity? Help you to get your logo done. Do you have all the business processes involved? Do you have all the accounting value forms? So it is not just getting the knowledge, but will help you to build your business block by block over a period of 6 months so that you can now walk away with your business.
I see.
That is what our commitment to the SME.
So if people want more information about you, where can they go as we speak?
Just send an email to ask@leadafrique.org. And
ask at leadafrique. Where Lead Afrique is on the screen.
Lead and then Afrique, the French version of Afrique, one word.
Leadafrique.com.
Yeah. No, org.
So ask@leadafrique.org.
Excellent.
I see. And what about your website?
Same thing, leadafrique.org.
Leadafrique.org. So this has been the first day of the final week of the Effective Living series, which is live on City FM and City TV. Thank you, Michael. Always good to have you.
It's always a pleasure.
And thank you for staying with us. Thank you for watching on The Breakfast Daily and for listening on The Breakfast Show. My name is Bernard Avle. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.